I'll bring in the meeting to order. And welcome everybody to this our last meeting for 2017, and we look for a good morning. We give thanks to I'll start with the opening prayer. We give thanks for the contribution by pioneers, early settlers, and those who fought in the various wars for the fabric of Tenterfield community we have today. May the words of our mouths and the meditation of our hearts be accepted in thy sight, O Lord. Amen. Acknowledgement of country, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land to our meeting on today. I'd also like to pay respect to elders both past and present, the Juppavut, Kamilaroi, and Bundjalung nations, and extend that respect to other Aboriginal people present. Apologies, councillors, we have no apologies, we're all here. Disclosures and declarations of interest, none. Confirmation of minutes. Councillors, we have two lots of minutes to deal with. We have a normal meeting on the 22nd of November, then we have that extraordinary meeting on the 29th. Councillor, we happy to move both those minutes together? Yeah. We've got a motion going that way, please. Councillor Bromwich, thank you. Second, Councillor Brett Sawyer, all in favour? Against, carried. Now we'll do and we'll move. Now we'll move to do them both together. Now we'll move to confirmation. So, would someone who was in attendance at those meetings like to move that they are a true and correct record? Please, Councillor Sawyer, thank you. Second by Councillor Murray, and I thank you. All in favour? Against, carried. Thank you. Councillors, there's no tabling of documents. Anyone got any documents they wish to table? Councillors, urgent and late and supplementary items. We have a couple to add to our agenda today. We have, I'll deal with the, we have an addendum item put in to deal with in our ordinary meeting, and it is item ENV 31/17. It's Operation Cost Saving Tenterfield Shire Council Sewage Treatment Plant. So I'll move in a second, please, to deal with that. Councillor Don Forbes, thank you. Seconder. Councillor Mike Petrie, thank you. All in favour? Against? Carried. The others to do with in confidential, councillors. We have an addendum item. There's three items there, and I will list them as far as their item number. We already have in confidential to be considered items GOV 99/17, GOV 100, GOV 101, and COM 16/17. But we want to add to that EC 036/17, it's an update for scope and say truck wash project, and item ENV 32/17, status update on the Geotech limited claim. So I'll move in a second. We deal with them in confidential, please. They are late addendum. I'm sorry. You haven't got this, that councillor? I apologise. Has everyone got the late addendums?
No, that's the one that. That's the one that came with the
There's another one. Who hasn't got that? You got them on your iPad, Mark? Yeah. Okay. It's just due with the late addendums to be dealt with in confidential. Just wait for Nolan to come back. Well, we can move that anyway. So you're happy to have them dealt with as a late and supplementary items of business, councillors. Councillor Don Petrie, thank you. Second, Councillor Tom. Sorry. Okay. So we've moved Councillor Don Petrie, seconded by Councillor Tom Petrie, as moved to deal with the addendum items in confidential. Okay. All in favour? Against? Yeah. Thank you. Righto. Councillors, we have no community consultation, public access session. There is no Merrill minute. Recommendation item to be considered in confidential. Deal with that. Now we go to our open council report. We start on page 8, councillors, in your hard copy. Infrastructure Environment Regulations, Parks and Gardens Open Spaces. Advisory Committee. Is item COM 15/17. Try to move to the second to deal with this item, please. Councillor Forbes, I thank you. Second by Councillor Bromwich, I thank you. And I will hand over to CEO or CE, Mr. Terry Dodds, and welcome Terry, and hand over to you.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I've spoken to 3 councillors who, or 2 of which approached me with not concerns, but ideas and questions in relation to our committees. And the result of that meeting was that we've got a Parks and Gardens Committee, an Arts Committee, and there's one other one similar as well, Heritage. And we've dissolved the Streetscape Committee some time ago once the main street work was done. I'd like to discuss with Council early in the new year at a brainstorming session and put a report up to Council to reinstate some of the words that, or the imprimatur that was in the Streetscape Committee, and not combine the committees but combine the meeting date to 1 day a month with those 3 committees to meet on the same day, because art, heritage and parks and gardens in relation to the amenity of our area go hand in hand. And I think the amount of administrative work would be no different, and the result would be better if we could combine the brains trust of the members that are on those 3 committees. Not change the name of them, but perhaps call the combined committee as the public amenity group or something like that, because art is public amenity, parks and gardens is public amenity, and heritage is public amenity, and streetscape is public amenity. By meeting monthly and keeping a little bit of momentum up, I think would be a good thing. And I think the timing of it for next year is going to be pretty good as well. A couple of councillors have used the words Barrel of Brisbane and things like that to try and encapsulate what those 3 committees would like to achieve. There's a little bit of work to do. There's no need to change the membership or change the individual committees, but meeting together and all working together, I think, will create a better outcome. It'll also mean that we engage the community better. So I'd like to brainstorm on that council with the council in the new year, and subject to us coming up with a good solution, then put a report up amending all of the committee meeting schedules, and also combining the 3 committees plus the imprimatur for the Streetscape Committee into a charter with objectives, how they line up with our community strategic plan, our delivery plan and operational plan, and what we want to achieve during that period. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any questions to our CE to do with this report? Councillor Berry, I'll go down this one.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To CE, with the Arts Committee, in the past we had to write a lot of letters to other committees to get things done, as in Parks and Gardens and things like that, just to formalise what we wanted to do. And I think it'd be a good idea to actually have the 3 committees meeting. One of the things that we would have liked to have seen done, but it's a long way down the track, was with out the tank traps there where the cement wall is, put a mural on there and hint what the tank traps were intended, how they're intended to be used. But of course they have to go to the ANZAC committee through to federal government and all that type of thing. But let's just give you a bit of a brief on the idea. And with the Arts Committee, would it be possible to re-advertise? I know that a few more people wanted to get on there, they can apply to the old how it was set up.
Just to order, deal with me. Sorry, Councillor. Councillor Berry,
Through you, Mr. Mayor, if that be the wish of the committee, I can't see any impediment for that.
and I'll just add that before I go to you, Councillor Bond, in the on page 9, you copy, Councillor, re-advertising your local news, which is our local news. We send out you know, vacant community positions, village is great. We can marry that into that as easy as that. I don't know if it's as easy as that, but for me it's easy. That's a great idea. Right before I go on, I do support our CE's ideas with marrying those. Well, I'll look at those those committees up, and some go forward, save a lot of to and fro, I think. Councillor, I'm sorry, Councillor Peter, I had Councillor Bronwyn Patrick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, I'm happy to look at that. I just have some concerns about it becoming bigger than her, and also what would happen then when we have a field trip, particularly so with the heritage system, and we have to then realign when we have those meetings out of town with individuals in addition to the villages. So that's all stuff for the brainstorming session.
Yeah.
But I had thought, just from Councillor Berry's comment, that the Arts Committee thing, we did approve for it to be re-advertised, those positions, at a previous council meeting, because the report came in to say that they were double checking that Mrs. Jerd and Margaret, whether they were representing the arts group or whether they were on as individuals. And I think that's now been confirmed that they're on as individuals, and I understood it was being re-advertised then for those vacant positions and approaching the arts for to nominate some people directly from them. So I believe it had already been done, but whether there's been any responses, I'm not sure.
Well, the way I read it, if I may, before I go to you, Councillor Forbes, with the background here in page 8, that the meeting of 25th October this year, as a resolution to approve the following. And that, just on those two names you mentioned, Councillor, endorse nomination C from Margaret Dow and Ms. Sue Jerd as community members of the Art and Culture Advisory Committee. These nominees being advised accordingly. Is that what you'll mean?
Yeah, we had that, but at the same time, there was going to be the advertisement was still 6 ago, it was all from other 4 positions or something.
Okay.
Because there were none on the board local group. It may not have been done.
No, that's
It's
right.
Are the only ones that were
Well, taken
advertised, not
across.
the arts.
Yeah.
The legislation was changed.
I'll go to Councillor Forbes. Come to you, Councillor Peters. Was there anyone down this side? I apologise if I missed you. Okay, Councillor Forbes.
Yeah, through you, Andrew. Just to clarify a couple of things. It's on that a member of the public, I understand, will be chairing these meetings and they'll be rotating basis, through the 3 or 4 committees that will be form part of the joint committee.
Through Mr. Mayor, my understanding would be that the organisation would supply the secretariat, and there'd be a round robin situation where the arts chair will chair one meeting and then the Parks and Gardens another meeting. The challenge for council is going to be for the combined committee to stick with their charter and to stick with what council has to do in relation to the IPNR, the 1-year operational plan and the 4-year delivery plan, and work out what we can do to achieve that and not reinvent the wheel, which I think would go a long way towards appeasing Councillor Bronwyn Petrie's concerns about it becoming bigger than Ben Hur.
Yeah, of course.
Is that the committee will furnish a report back to council.
Through Mr. Mayor, yes. It'd be no different to any other report, and what I'd hope to achieve at the brainstorming session is to come up with a matrix or a spreadsheet, so that as the interconnected ideas come in, they get listed down, and then it's just a simple update, not a long-winded approach and more administrative effort to achieve the same thing. A bit similar to a project management chart.
Thank you, Councillor. Thanks, Terry. Councillor Peters.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I'm sort of a bit concerned with the size of the committee. If you combine the 3, I'm only going to do all the members. We have enough trouble with the councillors here trying to get things sorted out. We've got all these committees combined with a large number of members. I think there's about 2 or 3 on each committee, and you have a whole lot of them. How are you going to organise things? You're going to reduce the number of members on each committee down to 1 or 2, or what's going to happen?
Through Mr. Mayor, I would imagine that with absentees and that if there was 3 or 4 on each committee turned up once a month and we had 12 or 15 people, that would actually be a good number, bearing in mind the amount of work that the committees have got to do. People that are interested in arts, more than what they would be in Parks and Garden, for example, will spend a lot of their effort assisting the combined committee with that. People that have got more of a green thumb, I'd imagine would contribute to the rest of the ideas, but then spend more of their efforts along those lines. And it'll be up to the strength of the chairs to control that to some extent. And also for the chairs to ensure that, and for council during their brainstorming session, to ensure that we very accurately write down what we want the committees to achieve, when we want them to achieve it, and how they're going to integrate with council operations to do that. And should people go off the track, that's okay. That the ideas that don't fit within our operational and delivery program, the integrated planning and reporting requirements of the Act, can be addressed by going to a parking lot for inclusion, or not inclusion, but for consideration the following year. So it actually depends on the quality of the governance framework at the beginning as to what we'll get at the end. A high quality governance framework will get a high quality result, and I think that's what we should be spending our efforts on early in the new year, so we can get that. Then have a meeting with the combined amenity committee and say, look, this is what we're hoping to do by combining the 3 committees. This is how we're hoping to run it, and seeking their support to do that.
But to be supportive, if I may, Councillor, of our CE to bring this forward and make it work, it's one of those suck and see sort of things, and I think that first brainstorming that we have will come up with a way forward, you know, of the combining of those organisations, and we'll just see how it goes. Yeah, Councillor, no problem, we'll allow it.
Thanks. I was just going to say that a lot of the people on those committees would give valuable input on some of those other items as well, knowing the people on those committees. So anyway, we'll work it all out, I'm sure, in the brainstorm.
But if I may just define before I close, to be supportive of, and Councillor Berry's raised a really good point to do in that area out there. The way I see it, it's to have all those people in the room and to mention, we'll just use that as an example, to do a mural on that wall out there. You know, you're involving your arts, you're involving committee, it could even be heritage committee, it could even involve the Anzac Centenary. But it's a thing that's we advertise in this area as an example that you know that's a place that people go and visit. So any spruce up or doing that, but while everybody's in the room, it saves waiting for another meeting for it to go to them, and I think that'd be a good thing. Yeah, that's only an example of you. Okay, any more questions to I see you to do with that report? No? All happy to adopt? Yes? Carry. Okay, councillors, page 11 on your hard copy. It's item EC 034/17. It's your infrastructure engineering planning and environmental service update. Copy mover and seconder, please, to deal with this. Councillor Rogan, I thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Sawyer, I thank you. And I'll hand over to our infrastructure environment regulation engineering administration officer. How do you get a title like that? Andre, welcome. Services.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillors, you'll notice some ongoing changes. The report's a work in progress, but what we're seeking to do is hopefully make it a little bit more informative. And for those of the public that actually want to have a look and see, they might be able to relate to some of the progress through pictures and the like. So over to you for questions.
Before I go to questions, I really want to make a point here, and I'll go back to our previous council, Mike Petrie, where you brought something forward about, I'm reading on page 13, to do with the backhoe and to do with drainage and that. If you read through that there and the good work that backhoe has been doing, we've just got a new one, to do drainage works as they go around the show, I think that's a great thing and saves us a lot of work. So it isn't to see they get done, and I thank you, Andre, for that, and it's noted, you know, that we all, as the grade goes through, and we all, as councillors, get that information, oh, we've got to clean the drains out, but that's all, and I see myself in my councils. So I think that's a good thing. Councillors, questions, Andre, to do with the report? Councillor Berry?
through you, Mr Mayor, to Andre. I just worry about the cost of repairing these bridges. The one on Paddy's Flat Road that has been done, I just wondered why we just put a box culvert there. And the Bundaberg Bridge, I see it's going to have another fairly large overhaul. It's had a couple, about 3 in the last 40 years. And I just don't know what they cost, but I know in the case of the Bukakrara Bridge, there was a major overhaul done on that. Look, I'm not too sure what year it was. And the community kicked up such a stink when they wanted to do the Mersons Creek one. And the council put a large box culvert there, which was just about as cheap as what it was to replace the bridge. And the reason we were given the Bookie Bridge, why they didn't replace it at the time, was a simple fact they would keep the bridge crew employed. And that was the best we could get out of council for that one. Another comment and another question, Mr Mayor.
Well, I'll let Andre do that, then I'll go to council, I'll go and see if there's any more, then I'll come back to you. Okay?
I'll go through you, Mr Mayor. Look, Councillor, with regards to the culvert scenario, culvert replacement scenario that you mentioned, now, look, I'm not speaking loud.
No, Councillor, you're good, we're just doing all the thinking. Nothing to do with you, it's all good.
Okay, dare I say to you that what we do when we go through the concept stage of looking at a bridge replacement is disclose the most cost-effective option as to whether, you know, a culvert in a small crossing is appropriate. That said, I think we just need to be mindful these days that with culverts, they have to be certainly done in such a way that fish passage is allowed for, and dare I say that's becoming an increasing impost on our infrastructure costs these days. I mean, it was only not so long ago we were looking at doing an upgrade to basically just a pre-crossing, right? Just a handstand basically. It wasn't a handstand, basically it was just a causeway. Now that replacement should have cost us around about $150,000. We haven't done it yet, but as part of getting the approvals going through forward, Fisheries wanted us to put in a fish passage that was going to cost us big dollars. And now the latest is that they want something that's potentially going to cost us an extra $850,000 on our $150,000 causeway, and that's not going to happen. So dare I say to you, we do look at these things, and it's ultimately you can avoid having to touch the waterway. By and large, that's the better way to go. Coming back to Bundaberg, now you mentioned about that bridge having had some work done on it in previous years. Look, I'm not aware of the extent of that work. I do know that there has been some work certainly done on the piles. I can see that. That's more recent timber work. But we've recently had a bridge inspection, level 3 structural engineering inspection, where they've tested that deck, they've tested the piles for structural integrity and their load carrying capacity. And look, the long and the short of it, that bridge is going to have a 10-tonne load limit in the not too distant future. That's going to be the subject of another report, but right now we need to tighten up the deck. Right? At the present time, you've got a lot of members that are acting independent of one another, and that is not that's not healthy for the longevity of that bridge. So we're not too sure when we're going to get money for that bridge replacement. We've certainly put in for Fixing Country Roads, under Fixing Country Roads program for replacement, fully funded replacement of that bridge, but that's, I suppose, the jury's out on that. So in short, the work that we are looking to do is the absolute bare minimum going forward.
Councillor, I'll come back to you, Councillor. You did indicate you had some more. Councillor Bromwich.
Thanks, Councillor. Sorry, I've got to move my car apparently because you guys need to work.
Oh, sorry.
Just to Andre, thank you. On page 15, it says there was a safety incident this month with a breakage of a sewer pipe out of the dam. But then the next line says there were no environmental incidents. So I take it there was no spillage in relation to that breakage. And the second one was, as we're supporting what the Mayor said about regarding the backhoe, it's so important with our drainage and, otherwise might as well not great. I was just wondering if there was any word why the grader seems to be parked at Daisy Mount entrance for the past few weeks.
Okay, through you, Mr. Mayor, a couple of comments to your question there, Councillor. With regards to the sewer breakage, sewer line breakage, I'm not aware of there being any major follow-up required of that should the timely repair of the breakage. With regards to the grader that you spoke about, I have heard about that, but I'm not aware sort of the reason for that. Whether it was just whether it was one of our contracted graders, whether it was a mechanical issue or what, but certainly it's our intention to keep our grader crews going, and I can certainly chase that one down for you if you certainly want more elaboration.
Just wondering. Sorry, thanks. On my ear, I was just wondering why. I've had a few reports that's just been there whenever people have been going past over the last couple of weeks. So I didn't know if it was a mechanical thing or whether we're employee down or something like that. And thank you very much. Just excuse me. And I love the sign thing of the storage at the depot. We also had a smaller version of that at the mines. They used to carry them back to use to carry the signs for easy access to, which might be an idea for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor McNish. I'll come back to you and Councillor Green.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I just got things. First one day, Robin went to the driveway and nutshell, I'm very, very pleased with the job done there.
So did I,
In
Councillor.
spite of, local resident not being able to go with it. No, great job. And also Cooks Road, people have actually looked at what the council's done out there. And trouble is it creates high expectations for other roads. Including Brian's Gate Road,
Are you declaring an interest there, Councillor?
Just on the dump, Andre, on that last one, I went up there a couple of weeks ago with my rubbish, and it's great that you go in there and you go up to where the person working is, dump your general rubbish, and then you've got to sort of go out and around and back to the recycle. Is there any moves afoot to move the office up to the front of the entranceway there? You know what I mean? Or you're going to go, yeah.
Councillor, I know what you're talking about. I have not heard of any moves afoot to sort of reconfigure the arrangement, the layout there. That said, there's probably quite a few other issues that are sort of absorbing management's attention by and large right now. I've noted your comment, and that's perhaps something that we can look at going forward into the future.
Okay, thanks. Last thing, Mr. Mayor, I may. Just a quick question. I've had lots and lots of questions and comments about what's happening at the dam. I think it would be nice if we as a council had an inspection out there and have some explanations why all those rocks there, what's that soil doing there, what's going to happen.
I do think, Councillor, without stealing Terry's thunder, in our bus tour, they won't go have it early in the new year, we've got a date, 17th. I think that's one of the things we're going to look at.
Oh, January.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But thanks for the question, Councillor, and it's a good question. Councillor Forbes, I'll go to you and I'll come back to you, Councillor Berry.
Yeah, to engineer through you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I'm looking at page 20 and there's a dot point there about the last one in Jennings, and that prompted my memory that earlier this year I gave the acting general manager at the time, David Walker, a copy from, I think it was the Sydney Morning Herald, about this issue up there, and I don't have a copy of it with me at the moment. I did give it to him, and he was aware. And I was just curious. There was never seemed to be any follow up with that particular article, from as I recall. But there was some concerns that EPA was a little bit remiss in not sort of keeping an eye on what are the environmental effects of that particular arsenic here.
In that site, Councillor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I've got a bit to say there.
Yeah, that's fine, but as I said, there was this article in the Sydney Morning Herald earlier this year about it, and so I gave it today, and I'm just curious to know what the situation is really with that area. On
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Don, I'd have to take that one.
Sure, fair enough.
Councillor, Andre, if I can add, Councillor, I don't know if it was in the previous council or even at the end of the first council on, and I'm going to say it was in our last council term, we did get a fund, a grant funding of, and I'm going to say it was $30,000 to cap that area. That work was done, and I wouldn't be going to say it was an EPA grant, but it was a grant from someone, because even go back in history, it is one of this, because that's where that arises from, because that's where they made the poison to deal with prickly pear.
With what?
The prickly pear,
That's
the
right,
poison.
yeah, it was back in the 30s.
In the 1930s,
That's right.
I've got an article in the magazine at home that mentions it.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
so that's where it all came from.
Yeah.
But it's right down on the corner of before you go down Ballantyne Street, and it's like just, you wouldn't even think about that it was there. But there was funding in either the previous council or the one before council. And council did the work, I remember that, to cap that area and basically put a hard stand on it. So I hope that's sort of giving you some light on that. There was work done. I'm not aware of this article you were talking about.
Well, I'm trying to get out again, but you know, as I said, I handed it to Dave Walker.
Did it raise concerns about it?
Well, no, Dave said when he read it, he said, I'm well aware of this whole thing, despite the fact he's coming
In Sydney, yeah.
No, he said, yeah. He said, so, no, it was just that the gentleman who gave me that article, he was raised with me again. I said, no, look, I'll follow it up for you.
Because if it is a conversation, and I say this now, I'm not stealing any of your senior staff on it, but obviously it's right there in the, not in the guts of Jennings, but it's not far away, I can tell you.
No.
Yeah, so obviously it was a concern, and arsenic is that it will stay on the ground.
Yeah,
So that was the idea, but we did get funding on it. I remember that clearly. So we did. Councillors, any more questions to, sorry, Councillor Berry, back to you. You indicate you had some more.
Yeah, Mr Mayor. I'm just concerned about the Edinburgh water supply with pump there. Look, around the Granite Belt, they've discovered every possible option with pumps so that they get washed away from the Severn River when it floods. And I'm just wondering if the submersible pump is the best option, just given how much water can go down that creek. One of the options they're using when it stands up now is a pontoon with a submersible attached to that, so it can ride the flood waters out. And the other one is using a centrifugal pump with a Venturi to its maximum suction capacity. I'm just wondering what's the really best option there, because submersibles use a fair bit more power than centrifugal pumps.
Through Mr Mayor, fair comment, Councillor Berry. To what extent can council staff have taken notice of perhaps the past flows in that area to take that into account now, being an opportunity to sort of deal with all those issues. Look, I'm not 100% across that, but that said, if there's history there that's suggesting that if there's issues, well, I'd certainly be willing to listen to that. Look at that, because what you're suggesting, submersible pontoon is something that I've heard of before, and it sounds like a way forward.
Just a comment, I'd just like to congratulate Andre on using the backhoe crew to clean up the drains. I've had a lot of comment about it, so I think it's a great idea.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Bronwyn, I'll go to you.
Thanks, Mayor, and also I can pass on our congratulations to, or thanks to Weeds Officer for taking the giant camera to us. But I don't know if I missed it, but was there any comment on the fairy lights while I was out? On what the reception has been from the public? I came through the other night, it was after midnight and they were off, they're off.
Would you say they were off?
Yeah, I thought they might turn off at a certain time.
Oh. Of course, I'm
Through you, Mr Mayor, no, Councillor, they don't turn off at a certain time during the night. They're on a timer with our other lights, so basically they come on at dusk and go off around a bit after daybreak.
Well, I came through the other day about 10 past midnight and they weren't on.
might have been the time that they were in, wasn't it?
Oh, were they? They've been back there already.
First week. Anyway, councillors, any more? Councillor Bobrow.
Yeah. Thanks, Mr Mayor. For back on page 20, the weeds situation. I was just wondering, that list of weeds there, I had a resident talk to me the other day about a thing called Chinese heaven tree. I was just wondering whether that's on the council radar or not. And so First time I'd actually heard anything about this thing, but apparently it's quite insidious. It produces chemicals that stop native species growing around it and all sorts of stuff. And there is some of it around the Shire that's sold, and this particular resident spoke about some out along Ruxton Way, a few k's out. So just wondering whether that's something that has been looked at or is on the list to be looked at.
Councillor, did you say tree of heaven or Chinese?
Tree of heaven, yeah.
Yeah,
Or something similar. It's
that's what we've got.
it's a smelly thing.
Yeah.
It's called the sewage tree too.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
It was mentioned.
Did you have any comment on that?
Only to say, through this mayor, that, look, there's a plethora of things that we could be chasing down around our Shire. Dare I say, what drives what we do is our budget, and what is the most, I suppose, high risk in terms of its proliferation. I can certainly answer about whether A, this is on our radar, and B, whether there's any scope to include it in the list of things that we perhaps monitor, but that's the status of it. Councillor?
Okay. Councillor, to be fair, you comment or question?
Just a comment about
Yeah, I'll let it.
In the past, council has looked at the tree of heaven. We've had, I think it was on the radar quite a few years ago, and there's not a real lot in the Shire there. So,
Okay, Councillor, question, Councillor?
Just a comment, Mr Mayor. I had somebody out home when I first built my house, and it still comes up through the lawn occasionally, but I don't know it, but quick hit a round up and it's history involved.
Apparently there's quite a lot on the side of Bruxton Way.
Yeah, I've seen it out there. It's easily controllable.
Okay, councillors, I'll wrap the questions and comments up on the Andre, just to finish, thank you. It's always a detailed report. A couple of things that I know have the support of this full council. With the work on Nutshell Road, I think as mayor and with the full support of this council, an absolutely outstanding job. Personally, I would love to see that on every job we do. I know it's more money, but to clear those trees up and have better sight vision going into, especially into Bruxton Highway, and the Kimbarra Road. It is of concern because it's a bus route. We need to focus on our bus routes. You've done that, so I do thank you for the work done. And with a little bit of negativities about that, I would worry about one little bit, my friend, because this council is fully supportive of the job that we've done out there. I'd love to see that done right across the board. It's a great job. To do with the pass on to Chris, please, to do with the inspections, with the all the week stuff to do with our neighbouring councils and our western councils. And on page 21 to do with the cross-border meeting held in Texas. I mean, that's all really good stuff. And it just supports everything we do, working with local land services. People in this room as councillors are very concerned about the weeds we need to deal with. The fact we only can afford one person. I'm not having a go at Chris or that position, but he's got a lot of area in the government. And Ross did before. And for us now, even with that last dot point to, with the new weeds program that's been installed, it's a good thing. And it'll help manage the data that we deal with and mapping, to do with the variety of weeds that we have in our Shire. It's not normal because of our large area, and from the western side right down to the eastern forward, it all changes. So it is a challenge, but I do thank you, and please pass it on to Chris. I know I'll have support of the council for saying that. Okay, councillors, reports there, all happy to receive a note. Against, carried. Councillors, move on to page 26, item EC 035/17. And improve council's ability to work and efficiently at a lower cost. Can I have a move in a second that we deal with this item, please? Councillor Mike Petrie, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Gary Berry, and I thank you. And I'll hand over to Andre again to present this report.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Councillors, this report is all about, I suppose, taking up an opportunity to do things better within council at a realistic price. What this report talks to is the fact that there are a number of pieces of equipment that council either doesn't have or doesn't have backup for. And for example, with a vacuum pump, that's something that is really an ideal, one of those things that I would love to see in the system for any number of reasons, for cleaning out of block drains, to assisting the roads operations with culverts, etc. whilst we have a pressure washer, if anything ever goes wrong with that, to have something, called in at short notice, there's not a lot of scope for that. And certainly with regards to the hydraulic valve exerciser, at the end of the day, we've got a lot of valves around our Shire pub and network that realistically, if we were doing a program maintenance program, which we aim to get in place ultimately, opening and closing those valves to make sure that everything is not rusted on tight, right? Ultimately, we wouldn't have technical problems, but the reality is we have a small number of crews, or members of that crew, and we don't get around to things as quickly as we would like, and then when something needs to be turned off or turned on, you've got people trying to do backbreaking work and you find that valves are seized into position, and then you end up replacing the valve, taking it offline. So this is something that effectively will help change that, takes out the backbreaking work component, and all of this is at a very good price going forward. So I would commend to you the taking up of this opportunity and just allow us to work within the existing budget. Thank you.
Questions to Andre or comments, councillors? Councillor Berry?
Just a question, Andre, for my own benefit. Is the jetter, what capacity has that got in terms of litres per minute and what pressure does it operate under?
Really, Mr Mayor, with respect, Councillor, I haven't delved into that level of detail. I've left that to the manager of the area to check with our fleet people as to whether this is adequate and compatible and right fit for purpose.
Other questions, councillors? Comment, Andre, to do this report? The recommendations there, councillor. All in favour to approve? Against? Carried. Thank you. Councillors, we move on to page 29. In your hard copy, it's item ENB 28/17. It's your planning and development update. Can I move to a second, please, to deal with this? Councillor Forbes, I thank you. Seconded by Councillor Sawyer, and I thank you. And I hand over to Kyle to present this report. Andre. Andre.
Thank you, Mr Mayor.
And where you
Don't
go.
worry, Collie's turn will come.
It's all good.
So this report is just a standard planning report that gives you an update on the status of where our consideration of various developments are at. You will notice that we continue to be ahead of the game in terms of comparison to last year in terms of dollar values. What's encouraging is, particularly on page 33, develop drains. That was something that was spoken about at the end of last financial year, and there seems to be ongoing interest there, so that all bodes well for this community.
Thank you, Andre. Questions, Andre, to do with the report, councillors? No questions, councillors? Be aware of your hard copy goes from page 29 to page 34. So all happy to receive a note, councillors? Against? Carried. Thank you. Page 35, your hard copy, councillors, it's ENB 29/17. It's the removal of section 88B restrictions into the industrial estate. Can I move in a second to deal with this one, please? Councillor Murray, I thank you. Seconder, Councillor Mike Petrie, and I thank you. And once again, I hand over to Andre to present this report.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Mr Mayor. Councillors, the first time we had a development application being considered by our planning department for this block of land that's at the end of Riley Street and adjacent to the western boundary street. Some time ago, when the subdivision was put into place, there was conditions put on the blocks that abutted western boundary street that effectively precluded access, like particularly for this block, from Riley Street. It would appear that it had a lot to do with perhaps perceived traffic movements along Riley Street, but it would appear that over time those traffic movements were ameliorated or mitigated somewhat by other conditions, not the least being traffic calming on Riley Street, and being also that a lot of the heavy vehicles are meant to not be going along Riley Street in any case, meant to go out the other way through Western Boundary Banbury Street. Now, this particular development, you probably don't have a copy of the, I'm pretty sure you haven't, or you might well have in the attachments. It's going to have a look at that. Yes. Have you seen plan something like this? No. No.
No, the thing we've got is one.
Okay, the bottom line is that this is just an extract of the development application, and it just has an access in from Raleigh Street so that the vehicles can come in Raleigh Street and exit out of the other side of the block to make most use of that building block. And it seems like it's a good way forward, a good use of that land, and we in the planning department cannot see any reason why we shouldn't remove the ADA, remove this restriction upon this block of land. Once we do that, we'll proceed with the development application.
Questions on way to deal with the report, councillors? Questions, Councillor Petrie, from Petrie?
Can you just confirm which lot number it is? Because on the plan we've got, it's lot number 1 is at the end of, is on the corner of Riley and Western Street, but in the officer's recommendation it says on the use of land number 3. And while you're finding that, I was just wondering, would that then affect the sign on the Pelham Street entrance to Riley Street which says no vehicles over so many tonnes?
What I can confirm, councillor, it is lot 1, the corner of Riley and Western Banbury Street. It's not lot 3, so that is going to be a typo. And with regards to the, I suppose the signage on Riley Street, down Elm Street corner, I do not see that as needing to be changed.
So we'll note that the typo that isn't numbered, it isn't, in your recommendation, it's not on land number 3, it's number 1. Yeah? Correct. Okay, correct.
So, sorry, so just to confirm, so if trucks are going into lot 1, they'll have to come from Boundary Street into Riley, turn in, and then not come from Pelham. They still can't come from Pelham. Would we go, could you just flip that round the table?
You mean Western Street, not Boundary?
Right. Is it called?
Okay, councillors. Any more questions on that to do with the report? No? Reports there, councillors. Officer's recommendation, all in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Councillors, we move on to page 37 in your hard copies, GOV 9, could deal with the addendum item. Thank you, Noel, for reminding me of that. The addendum item which has been approved at the start of our agenda, councillor. Will with the addendum. This to be held in this one here, in a normal meeting, which we're doing. It's item ENV 31/17. The operational cost saving tender of Shire Council Sewage Treatment Plan. Can I have a move in a second here, please? Councillor Sawyer, I thank you. Second by Councillor Raven, I thank you. And I hand over to Roderick to present this report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, this is a late item, but once again, just taking due regard of the opportunity. We're in a situation where, as is indicated in the report, we have to effect a certain amount of maintenance of our ponds, our treatment ponds, and that requires a certain degree of aeration and just basically mixing of what the content of the pond. We've got a pontoon package that we've got one that services 2 ponds at the present time, and every time that we, and ideally you're meant to do this rotation quarterly, not every 6 months, and we've stretched it out, but it costs us to bring in cranes, quite expensive cranes each and every time we do this. Now, the sums have been done. There's an opportunity to buy something that will pay for itself in 12 to 18 months, and this ceases to be an impost upon the operating costs. So I would commend this report to you and allow us to basically get on the job.
Thank you, Andre. Questions, Andre, to do with the report, councillors? No questions? Andre, thank you and for bringing this forward, because there is a cost saving there, although initial to purchase, but the way it's been presented in the report, we can all see that that's the smartest thing to do. And we do have a very good treatment works, sewage treatment plant, and we need to manage it and maintain it as good as we can. So thank you. Councillors, the recommendations there. All in favour to approve? Against? Carried. Thank you. We'll go back to the main agenda, councillors, page 37, item GOV 92/17, November 2017 Corporate Officer Service Update. I'll move in a second to deal with this item, please. Councillor Mike Petrie, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Bronwyn Petrie. Thank you. And I'll hand over to our governance coordinator, Colin.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. So the report there is a bit of a roundup of what's been going on across our particular division at this point in time. A couple of interesting things to highlight, one of which is our continued increased usage at the library and our capital grant in the future, which is in the process of putting our report at the library, which will make our numbers a lot more solid, we're hoping, so you'll see a bit of change in that in the future. And obviously, one of the other highlights of that particular report was the tourism team and the Innovation in Retail Tourism and Leisure Award that was awarded in the Innovation Awards. There are my 2 highlights. If anyone has any further questions to the report, happy to take those.
Questions, Colin, to do with the report, Councillor Berry?
Not a question, just a congratulations for Harry Chapman and the team in general. Cool.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Bronwyn Petrie?
Yes, likewise, Colin. Just was also wondering, with the information technology and new software for your finance staff, I presume there will be in-house training for staff on that one. And also with you getting new photocopies, do you sell the old ones or what happens to those?
So the photocopies have actually been returned as part of our agreement, and the new copies have been installed, so they're in situ at the moment at this point in time. And in relation to the software package, we're just in the process of finalising our quotations, and as part of that is the installation program, which will include training for staff once we've organised the actual install of the software.
Councillor Falk?
Yeah, just a question through Mr. Mayor to Colin. On page 43, workforce development, and second paragraph in that section, drug and alcohol tests. Who actually carries out the drug and alcohol tests? Have you got an internal group that does that, or do you get the New South Wales Police to do it?
My understanding this time is that we have an internal officer that undertakes that testing that has been trained, because obviously there is a training requirement to administer those tests.
Any other questions? Colin? You do agree with Councillor Sawyer? I'll come back to you, Councillor.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Kylie. On page 38, which walkway are we looking to get lit for 367,500 under the Safer Communities Fund?
And thank you for the question in terms of highlighting exactly where that is. I have to go back and have a look at the application. It's a previous application that was submitted 12 months ago. It was unsuccessful under that funds have been rebadged, so I can certainly get that out to council.
Thank you.
It is not, just to be clear, it's not actually a new item on the agenda, it's one that we identified that I've been able to improve our application and be successful.
Thank you. Questions, councillor? I will go back to councillor Bromberg for question or comment.
Yeah. Thank you. Kylie, Destination New South Wales. The comment there that it wasn't functioning as well as possible, the country and outback destination network. Were there any solutions offered for that? And then with the Adventure Group campaign, I was wondering if we could get a little bit more information on the Adventure campaign on page 39.
Thank you very much, Councillor. My understanding is that there is no way forward at this point in time. Obviously, Council is a contributor to Destination New South Wales Tourism. And at this point in time, those concerns have been brought up with the Minister of Health, primarily as the report states, the breadth of coverage that is required and the lack of funding left over to actually achieve more localised and regional advertising and support. That's number one. In terms of the Favourite Corner campaign, that was a campaign that was actually developed to, I guess, elicit some funding, but if Council's actually asking for what's included, I think that's
I'll hand over to Terry for some comment.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, this is precisely the type of advocacy role that the JO will be able to take on, having a little bit more sway with Destination New South Wales. I'm sure if we're noticing it, the other members of the JO, which is now currently the ROC, will have equal or even more stronger views. So with the support of council, I'll take that up with the current ROC and the future JO. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor, more questions, comments to do with the report to Kyle? If there isn't, councillors, the recommendation is there to receive a note. All in favour? Against? Carried. And Kyle, thank you. I meant to mention in it, for the detail in the report as always. It keeps us as a whole council updated with everything that goes on. So it is appreciated. So thank you. Okay, councillors, what do you want to do? Do you want to smoke or you want to?
Yes.
Book in? It take much to stop that. I know. Come back about 15 minutes, eh? Thank you. To do with item GOB 9917, Officer's recommendation, the council write up an amount of $543.16 in respect of account number 36962 and 2, issued an amendment account for $830.28, bringing the total usage charge for Tier 1 rate at $2.69 per kilolitre after credit adjustment is made. Inform the claimant that no further dispensation will be entered into. To do with item GOV 100/17, to do with water usage account, write up an amount of $710.40 in respect of account number 11874 and 2, issue an amended amount for $479.52, being the total usage charge for Tier 1 rate of $2.69 kilolitre account issued 16/6/17. 3, issue an amended amount account for $1,000,382.32, being the total usage charge for Tier 1 rate at $2.92 kilolitre on the account issued 16/12/16. 4, inform the claimant that no further dispensation will be entered into. With item GOV 101/17, council write off an amount of $1,234.79 in respect to account number 11965 and 2, issue an amended account for $177.60, being the total usage charge for Tier 1 rate, $2.96 a kilolitre after credit adjustment is made in the account 16/6/17. 3, issue an amended account for $985.21, being the total usage charge for Tier 1 rate $2.96 a kilolitre after credit adjustment is made in the account issued from the 16/12/16 4, in full of the claimant, no further dispensation will be entered into. To do with item COM 16/17, council accept the tender for New South Wales project for full service reseal for 10mm reseal, the amount of $405,000, $492.93, including GST. With item EC 036/17, thank you, Don. Council 1, the council received a note report. 2, approve the inclusion of a double height safety system into the overall project. And a B with number 2, investigation be made into side loading facilities and rear transfer box. 3, confirm the revised project budget of $1.292 million, exclusive GST and council's intention, take out a loan of approximately $600,000, excluding transfer box and side loading facilities, in keeping with the resolution of 179/17 of the 23rd of August 2017, to fund the balance of the project otherwise not already covered by existing budget allocation, i.e. $50,000 from each FY 16/17 and FY 17/18, and the state government $600,000 grant. For the last and final, officer's recommendation, with item ENV 32/17, that council, 1, respond to Geotech Limited without prejudice settlement offered before the 17th, 2018, and 2, continue to seek a resolution of the claim and keep it to the 23rd of August 2017, council resolution 176/17. Councillors, that is the end of our meeting. Before I close the meeting, I wish you all a safe and Merry Christmas with family and friends, and I thank you all for your efforts this year, councillors. It's been a big year and we've had a big day today, and the way we go about our business in detail, I really respect your opinion and questions asked. I'm sorry. I apologise, I made a blue already. What did we read? 4, no, I'm sorry, can you go back? On 4, I apologise, councillors. Acknowledge the current sale yard's infrastructure levy needs to be remodelled and revised up to 2018-19. I know we done that on them. Fees and charges for reasons to be sustainable to cover the loan principal, interest and non-operating costs, i.e. assets, depreciation, which needs to be funded. Okay, I'll go back to thanking everybody for the year. Wish you all a Merry Happy Christmas. With family and friends, we all look to get together for our 17th of January road tour, and to enjoy lunch after this. So thank you all very much, councillors. I closed the meeting and it was ended in peace and harmony. So thank you.